What up, world? You already know what time it is. It's your boy Matt Mizzle, the host with the most. Don't need to brag, no boast. All I do is give a toast to the real folks who done paved the way in the real way for us players to play. And yeah, got a good one for y'all tonight. We talking about white supremacy in the healthcare system. You know what I'm saying? Talking about how does that benefit us? You know, in no way, shape, or form does it benefit us. So now we get caught up every chance we get, you know. So the host with the most don't need to brag, no boast. All I do is give a toast to the So now, when we talk about being under the influence of white supremacy, under the thumb of white supremacy, my bad, yeah. A lot of things come into play, you know. Certain shit manifests itself like mental retardation. You got people all over the world acknowledging the fact that Black and indigenous people are being treated unfairly, especially in the public eye over Canada, you know. So it seemed real strange to me that we can't break down or decipher what's going on to us on a global scale when it comes to this healthcare system, you know, because they're really doing it to us like we're guinea pigs or something like that. So I just thought it was really weird and messed up that all these Black celebrities passed away after taking the vaccine a couple days or weeks later, you know. And that vaccine usually takes 5 to 7 years to produce. So in order for them to do that, there's just putting out new information. Sorry, y'all. I just had some business I had to attend to. So let's really break it down. The healthcare system, right? Really was a hospitality system. Or hostels, you know, where the sickly used to go to get treated, But when we look at the bigger picture, they never really had black folks in mind when they created the hospital. There's no hospitality. You're keeping us subjugated, That's why the hospital was never insured. Universal health care was never insured, to taxpayers. It's the reason why certain things don't change and certain things remain the same. Because when you look at the whole entire dynamic of what's going on, you got to ask yourself, how long has this shit been going on? From the Tuskegee experiments, to them experimented on Henrietta Lacks, to the syphilis, or to the blankets with smallpox. There's a lot of history of them manipulating the system for their benefit, but for our downfall, So why wouldn't they do it for this new wave of COVID-19? This whole COVID-19 regulation, stipulations. So I'm going to just show y'all one of them. This happened to a dying indigenous woman that she records slurs.
The mother of 7 calls out for help. The distress in her voice is obvious. You can hear other voices too. Hospital staff insulting her. Eshaquan died shortly after. It's unclear how. Her family says she had gone to the hospital on Saturday with stomach pains. Her husband says now, like that, her 7 children no longer have a mother. Her death prompted calls of justice for Joyce. At this vigil outside the hospital tonight, demands for change.
This is the unacceptable event that we sadly have had to endure for so many decades. Sadness, we're mad, we just don't understand why Native women, we have to go through that.
The chief of the Atikamekw Council of Manawan, where Eshaquan was from, describes her as radiant. And says the video is audio-visual proof of systemic racism. This comes nearly a year to the day after the release of a Quebec report with 142 calls to action that found Indigenous people in the province face systemic racism when accessing public services.
She was a victim of racism.
Today, the Assembly of First Nations of Quebec and Labrador released its own plan to fight that because it says the government isn't doing enough. The release of their plan today, a sad coincidence, says the Assembly's chief.
It just serves as a reminder that, I guess the mountain is steep, but we have to take it on.
Quebec Premier François Legault has repeatedly denied systemic racism exists in Quebec. Today, he said there will be investigations into Eshaquan's death.
The nurses did something unacceptable and she is being fired.
The province says there will be investigations by the coroner and the health authority, but tonight there are calls to do much more than that. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Joliette, Quebec.
Y'all tell me that this guy is not retarded. This guy Legault. He don't believe there's systemic racism in Quebec. And he said after a woman, indigenous woman, dies because she wasn't getting the adequate care that she needed. He said he's gonna go fire the nurses because they didn't do their job right. That's more than not doing your job right. That's negligence. So what can you fire them for? Racial slurs, right? Epithets. You know? Calling her epes, which means thick brain, you know? Thick skull, you know? Are you telling me that we don't understand systemic racism? So the name of the game is just deny, deny, deny. I hope everything goes away till the next election, right? They can push out another black face and say, hey, we did something for the community. But how is it that when black folks receive treatment, they get neglected, they get, they're almost forgotten because they don't have money, resources to put their people in better facilities to make sure they have a better quality of life, So that goes to show that systemic racism is an issue. And they don't care if they kill off a couple of people in order to do it. So now, here are some black nurses speaking out on the healthcare system. Mind you, the nurses,
Keep it low, don't
they know what
talk loud, try to make yourself almost invisible so they don't try to pick on you. Systemic racism in healthcare. Black nurses and hospital staff working in fields largely dominated by women know this all too well. Now, black nurses are sharing their experiences and demanding change. Experiences with patients, a lot of patients. I'm young, I'm black, I'm a woman, and they don't like that. I've been told that I don't want you to take care of me because you're black, literally. I've been called the N-word. I've been, some patients have been violent towards me because I am black.
Happens around a resident will say things such as, to my employees, I don't like your hair, I don't like your skin, don't touch me.
We talk about the opportunities that we've missed, the double work that we have to do just to get to the level of someone who's non-black.
Advocates are encouraging black women and men to not give up the good fight, even though it can be exhausting. But the burden of educating cannot only be placed on the backs of black people. Allies are needed.
Continue to take your place because we're as good as anybody else, even though they're trying to make us believe that we're not.
If we're not taking care of the healthcare system, there's a lot of issues that are not, underlying issues that are not taken care of. Policies and education reform are primordial, they say. We should review education towards nursing schools because we need to evolve our.
It's not just the nurses, though, it's the PABs too,
Stereotypes and false
And the
information
PABs
has
deal
been
with the
taught
patients more than the nurses.
such as black people having thicker skin and being able to tolerate more pain.
If someone black is complaining about pain, they're really not going to take it as seriously.
One nurse recounts how she witnessed how black patients are being treated differently than white patients.
So she had to go in like an emergency C-section, but it took them like a good 16 hours to understand that she was not going to give birth naturally. It was really, she had to go through a C-section and the woman died. But had been taking her pain seriously earlier, she might not. I'm not saying she will survive, but she maybe could have been alive.
It's until lately, people had to suffer in silence. They were not able to express and share their experiences, and when they did, they were being dismissed. So they had to suffer in silence. They had no one who actually took action and sanctioned the people who abused them.
In Montreal, Brittany Enriquez, City News.
Now, let me tell you a story about my lady, my woman, you know? She suffered the same situation. She went through the same thing, man. She was trying to explain to them that she was in pain. Every time she went to her little appointments, right before we were gonna have the baby, she explained to them her pain. And it's like they don't really listen to black women when they talk about pain, you know? So she ended up having an emergency C-section. You know what I'm saying? With all the stress and trivial bullshit that's going on in the world right now. Shit is really something to see, you know? Something to watch, man. You know? So now she had the emergency C-section, and our baby was born with a heart arrhythmia. So not only did she had to get knocked out, put under drugs, and C-section, the baby taken out emergency, she had to stay in the hospital for 3 extra months because of our baby. Our baby had to go through an ablation. You know what I'm saying? So think about all that, the psychological ramifications of all that. Her as a black woman has to go through. And she overcame it. The spirit of the Most High, you know? So I say that to say this. When it comes to racism, it's all across the board, especially the healthcare system. You got racist doctors, you got racist staff, you got racist administration, and they don't care two shits about you. So we always got to keep our eyes open to watch for our people, you know? Because it's a serious thing, man. It's a serious thing, and we can't joke about it. We can't play games about it. You know what I'm saying? We can't act like, you know, it's something to be swept under the rug. It's basically a life and death situation, man. When you're talking about taking care of people across the board, like they're human beings, you know what I mean? So I don't like to call it a hospital no more, because there's no hospitality. Just call it a human health center. You know what I'm saying? Human health facility or something like that, because nothing equates, man, to us being undermined, especially in a place like the hospital, which should be a neutral ground, you know? Just on a human level, humanity, you know what I'm saying? Like, really taking a step forward and analyzing the whole situation and shit like that, you know? Like, shit gotta be really real, you know? You know what I mean? And it's like, people don't understand how deep this shit goes, you know? So when you get caught up in certain situations, you have to ask yourself, damn, was I really doing that? Was I really a part of that? You know what I'm saying? And if so, what changes can I do to better myself as a person? Like, you know, like knowing that there's black people coming into this country like the droves. There's black people born every single day. Like, it's gonna be more and more black folks. White folks are gonna be more and more hostile? Like, yo, we're taking over. You know what I'm saying? One so small step at a time. And it's like, it's not even because we want to, it's just the natural state of things. So it's like, how far are you guys going to take this white supremacy thing? Like, our health is in the balance now. So we really have to double down and see the bigger picture. Like, how are we counting white supremacy if we're falling victim to it? Every step of the way. So, in order to make sure no person is mistreated, Black folks we need to stay on code. We need to have people in the hospital on code and ready to, you know what I'm saying, advocate for us at a moment's notice, because shit could just happen in a split second. You know what I'm saying? So it's either we get with it or get right. You know what I'm saying? It's Warren Mac Mizzle. You know my slogan. Keep it real in the field. Forget how they feel. I'm out. Peace.